And our final diplomat this morning, the British Deputy High Commissioner to Canada. Please welcome David Prodger. Now this is impressive. Here's a guy walking up to the lectern with no text, no iPhone, no script. I wonder what he's going, or is he going to pull out of, oh, I got so excited for a second there, but it was in his pocket. Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'm tempted to riff, but it will end up badly, I'm afraid. So thank you very much indeed. Great to be here. I just want to sort of reinforce the UK's full support for Ukraine. We will be foursquare with Ukraine for as long as it takes, and re-express the sentiments from the speakers who've gone before me about the long challenge we have ahead of us. As PM Carney said via the words from Parliamentary Secretary Yasin Naqvi, this is really about concrete action. So let me just give you a bit of an illustration what we in the UK are doing in terms of concrete action. And we can take as read, but I will state again that we will be foursquare behind Ukraine for as long as it takes. Our Prime Minister, at the conclusion of the Coalition of the Willing call last week on the 25th of November, just urged us to keep in mind one particular thing, and that's to keep our eye on the ball. That is, we must talk about reconstruction, but we must not do so at the expense of what is happening today and helping Ukraine today. So just to give a bit of a context, that is sort of four key areas. Firstly, helping Ukraine defend itself. Secondly, helping the people of Ukraine, especially as winter draws in. Thirdly, is giving full support to the peace initiatives ongoing as we speak. And fourthly, is maintaining pressure on Russia so it comes to the table with serious intent. So before I move on, just to give some examples of what we're thinking about and how we're helping with reconstruction, let me just give you an idea of the context we're working in. So on the first, the UK has pledged about $3 billion of ongoing military support every year to Ukraine for as long as it takes. This year, we've given about £4.5 billion. On the second, the UK has committed around about 1.2 billion, around about 2 billion Canadian dollars in humanitarian support, nearly 290 million this year. On the third, we continue to work extremely closely with our friends in the US and President Zelensky to make sure that there is a just and lasting peace that is acceptable to Ukrainian people. And on the fourth, in order to keep the pressure on Russia to bring them to the table, the UK has sanctioned about 2,900 individuals and entities, including nearly 500 ships, that's over a third of Russia's shadow fleet, malicious cyber actors, financial institutions. Overall, we estimate this has inflicted around about $450 billion worth of lost assets and revenue to the Russian economy, equivalent to about 2 years of their ongoing illegal invasion efforts. So, whilst we need to think about reconstruction, we absolutely must continue what we're doing to give day-to-day tangible support to our Ukrainian friends. However, this problem and the problem of the challenges around Ukrainian reconstruction are getting bigger. In February this year, the World Bank increased its estimate of Ukraine's recovery and reconstruction needs to $524 billion over the next decade. This is a generational challenge. And our challenge here today is to work out how to sustain and increase investment into Ukraine over the long term. So I want to offer a few examples of how we in the UK have been doing this, and just to underline that this is not a one-way street. There are huge opportunities in offer, and a range of sectors will drive Ukraine's economic resilience and deliver profitable business to her partners. Just to start with spotlighting, for example, Ukraine's energy transition, and there is real capacity to deliver economic growth and yield returns for investors. Engagement here will not only help build back a better, more modern and cleaner energy system, but it will ultimately benefit us all if we can establish energy-efficient sources that reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion, the UK has committed nearly £400 million, getting on for £750 million Canadian dollars to support Ukraine's energy resilience and recovery. There are also superb examples of this in partnerships between the UK and the Ukrainian businesses who are developing productive green energy innovations underpinned by £33 million worth of Innovate Ukraine Green Energy Challenge Fund. We've also made £25 million available to contribute to the IFC's Ukraine Economic Resilience Action Platform to mobilise private investment into energy security. And we know that $1 of public investment generates numerous dollars of private investment. And we've also allocated £5.7 million for technical assistance to help accelerate that energy sector reform. And that goes on top of £180 million of loan guarantee schemes through UK Export Finance. And that is to enable Urenco to supply enriched uranium to Ukraine's national nuclear company, helping to power Ukraine's energy system with secure, low-carbon fuel. So there are great opportunities in the energy sector, but the partnerships go further. However, as we know, investors remain cautious, often waiting for greater stability. But our message from the UK is those opportunities are there now, and the need is there now. So don't wait. The risks are being managed. You have to commit. So actions are already being taken by Ukraine to remove barriers, to progress reforms and develop bankable projects. So we're levering some of the UK's unique selling point as well as leader in insurance to build on Ukraine's insurance markets and to de-risk some of these capital investments. We've contributed to 2 war risk insurance facilities, both providing cover for war-related loss and damage to investors and firms operating in Ukraine. And we're harnessing the City of London's world-leading position in financial services to help Ukraine unlock the flow of private finance needed to rebuild the country and modernise the economy. UK Export Finance has committed its full £3.5 billion, that's about just under 7 billion Canadian market capacity, to support UK exporters delivering critical projects in Ukraine. And this unprecedented level of support includes financing for defence, infrastructure and energy, and makes UKEF the largest provider of export credit to Ukraine globally since the Russian invasion. And furthermore, the British government has approved £250 million in additional capital for British international investment to deploy in Ukraine before 2028. And this recognises the unique ability of development finance institutions to take higher risk transactions and crowd in private capital over time. To spotlight just one initiative in this part, the UK has announced about £37 million to help MHP, one of Ukraine's leading agribusiness companies. This will enhance Ukraine's energy security, it will improve operational efficiency, it will diversify geographically, and it will help mitigate some of the impact of the war. The second £60 million tranche of this programme is expected to be released next year, 25-26, or the rest of this year rather, and that will hopefully crowd in further investments. So lasting security and prosperity for Ukraine will ultimately depend on a strong, resilient, inclusive, private sector-led economic recovery. That is where we must play our part. That is where we must use our government funding to help encourage more private sector funding. And that is why I'm so delighted to be here today. I'm proud of UK's commitment to Ukraine. The work will be ongoing and our resolve will be unwavering. And we believe in Ukraine's fight today and ability to thrive tomorrow. Thank you.